It's time now for our World Cup Roundup show, and I'm joined by France 24's Emily Boyle. Hello to you, Emily.
Hello.
We also have sports journalist Francis Collings. Hello to you.
Hello.
Emily, this was a game that many people were considering not watching. This was the game for third place, and yet it turned out to be something of an instant classic.
Yes, and we should probably all take this as a lesson, regardless of what anyone says. Always watch the match for third place, because sometimes you might just get the most entertaining and chaotic football of the World Cup. 10 goals were scored last night as England won 6-4 against France. France haven't conceded that many goals in an official game since 1908. It's the highest scoring match ever between France and England, and it started off terribly for France as England opened the scoring in the third minute thanks to a beautiful strike by Declan Rice. The English then just kept going, and the score was 4-0 to the Three Lions going into half-time, leaving the French defence in a bit of a shambles. Didier Deschamps must have had a few strong words in the changing rooms and made a few changes, bringing on Barcola and Dembélé to try and save the day, and the French almost managed an Argentinian-style remontada, scoring 3 goals in 18 minutes after the break. Bukayo Saka, though, managed to convert a penalty to score his third goal of the evening in the 87th minute, but it was far from over as Dembélé made it 4-5 in the 95th minute, just for Jude Bellingham to dance through the French defence, as you can see there, single-handedly score England's 6th goal. It's an absolutely mad game and record-breaking. Kylian Mbappe's double means he becomes the highest World Cup scorer ever with 22 goals. He also takes the lead of the Golden Boot table with 10 goals in this edition. Michael Olise, meanwhile, his 2 assists means he breaks Pele's record for the most assists in a single edition with 7, and he matches Lionel Messi's record of 34 assists total over the course of a season. Meanwhile, Jude Bellingham becomes the English player to have scored the most goals in a single edition of a World Cup with 7 goals. And finally, with 3 great goals, Bukayo Saka becomes the 4th Englishman ever to achieve a hat-trick at a World Cup. Let's listen to what Saka had to say after that game.
As a collective, this is what we discussed. You know, we deserve to finish strong for the tournament that we have. We deserve to finish in the highest position that England has seen for 60 years. This group deserved nothing less, and that was the mentality, and you saw that in the first half. We played a perfect first half, and ultimately that won us the game. Yeah, for me it's an incredible achievement. Like you said, there's only 4 other Englishmen, or 3 other Englishmen that have done it. So yeah, it's a nice record to have now, and yeah, I'm proud of myself to achieve that.
Yeah, well, England seemed to be absolutely flying in that first half. Francis, what did you make of their performance?
The game of shame, what it was billed as. I mean, I wasn't too keen on watching it. I did watch it, then I got enthralled. It leaves a very small bit of sour taste in the mouth, because a modicum of that intensity, skill, pressing, we could have done with against, I think, Argentina. But having said that, it was great entertainment. No one thought that England would be scoring 4 goals in the first half. I had friends who were texting me saying, I bet France score 6. It came close to that, so it was a bit harum-scarum all over the place. And I think it probably, as you were saying, it means that this is a game that you should probably keep an eye on, even though you don't want to watch it if you are a beaten semi-finalist.
Yes, but of course, I mean, we still have to acknowledge that it is their best result since 1966.
Yeah.
What are the positives that England can take away from this World Cup campaign?
Well, we have got quite a touchy manager in Thomas Tuchel. Talented guy, but he's a little bit defensive. He was saying that he thought the press conference on Saturday was akin to his team being knocked out in the first round as opposed to getting to the semi-final. England have got to a semi-final before in recent years, in 2018. They need to go one step further. He knows that, but I think as well he knows, even though he's never the sort of person ever to admit it, that mistakes were made in the semi-final. Bukayo Saka, as we've just heard from, he didn't feature at all against Argentina. He played superbly. He got 3 goals. There was some question about, was he fit? He said after the game, yes, I was fit. He wasn't picked. He wasn't played. Tuchel was a bit defensive about that. Some things went wrong, but it does show, I think, perhaps to disagree with what Tuchel was saying about English players not having the right footballing DNA. I think they do, but I think it's the way they're structured, the way the substitutions come on, and the way their manager drives them.
Yeah, well, let's talk about France very briefly. It was, of course, Didier Deschamps' last game after 14 years at the helm. What went wrong for them? They looked like they didn't want to be there, and it showed on the pitch. What went wrong for France in that game?
There is this cliche in English football that they're on the beach when there's a game at the end of the season that doesn't really mean too much. The players are gone. It did look a little bit like that. Didier Deschamps looked like he was losing his mind at one stage on the bench, because I don't think he could expect his team to concede 4 goals. And he obviously had a few words to say at half-time, and he made those 4 substitutions and really changed things. It's a shame he goes out not on his sword, but with 2 defeats after such a long, glorious record as the French coach. And bear in mind, as a player as well as manager, he's given 25 years to the national setup, winning a World Cup as a player, winning a World Cup as a manager, getting to another final, coming close on more than one occasion in Euros as well. It's sad, but I think his record is going to be one that's going to be cherished by him and I think by French football.
Yeah, but we have to move on now to the final game, the hotly anticipated game this evening between Spain and Argentina. That's fastly approaching.
Yes, that all kicks off in New York at 9 p.m. Paris time. And the Big Apple has been overtaken by Argentina fans. France 24 Selena Sykes is in Times Square, soaking up a bit of that electric atmosphere ahead of the game.
Well, the atmosphere in Times Square right now is absolutely incredible ahead of that big World Cup final between Spain and Argentina. It has to be said that everywhere I'm looking right now, Argentina fans are very much in the majority. Let me just step quickly out of the shot to show you what is behind me right now. So many Argentina fans here in Times Square singing and chanting for their team as they have the chance to lift a back-to-back World Cup titles after having won back in 2022. Absolutely remarkable scenes here in New York. It's been raining and pouring, but the Argentina fans haven't let that dampen their spirits. They're chanting away. There are flags and banners with Maradona and Messi's face as they hope that they can make a bit of history and get yet another World Cup trophy to their name. Though Spain obviously stand in Argentina's way. Argentina have been the comeback kings of this World Cup. They fought back from behind so many times. They've been also taking extra time for the vast majority of their knockout games, but they obviously booked their spots here after beating England 2-1 in the semi-finals. Spain, though, will be a very tough team. They have been really exceptional at this World Cup. Very impressive, of course, after beating France 2-0 in the semi-final. The Spanish, who are known for their disciplined, organised team collective with that high possession of football. It's obviously Messi at 39 years old. Surely this will be his last World Cup, who's up against perhaps the pretender, the player who is marked as being the one that will take over his mantle for the next 10 to 15 years. That obviously, of course, is Lamine Yamal, playing in his first World Cup and will be hoping to lift his first World Cup trophy with Spain.
Selena Sykes reporting from New York. Emily, let's take a look at the two sides, starting with Spain.
Yeah, starting with the European champions out on the hunt for their second star. They're on a record-breaking winning streak. They've only conceded 1 goal this tournament against Belgium. Francis, I guess the big question here in this team is what makes them so dominant?
Well, they've got a very good manager, they've got some very good players, but they have a systemic approach, of course, that we've seen consistently through this World Cup. Rock-solid defence, only conceded the 1 goal against Belgium. And they will just pass their way around you. They are so organised. The interplay between the midfield and the defence, the high press, the attacking prowess from the fullbacks primarily, as well as Yamal. You've also got outside him Pedro Porro and Marc Cucurella on the other side. No team has really worked out quite how to counter that double attack, but they're very, very well organised. They don't seem to panic. It's going to be a game of attrition, I think, because Argentina, as we know, are quite physical, and they'll be targeting Rodri in the Spanish midfield. Without him, they start to lose some rhythm, so it's a real clash of style and intensities.
Yeah, and 12 of their 13 goals for Spain have come from inside the box. What does that say about the system you were talking about and the importance of their midfield?
I think they have a belief in the system, they have a belief in the manager, bearing in mind so many of these players came up through the system with Luis de la Fuente, through the under-21s, the under-19s, the Olympic team. They know him, they know how he plays, and he says, let's just believe. And of course, twice we've seen Mikel Merino come on as a substitute and get the winning goal in a game, so they have options from the bench as well. They don't seem to panic, you know. I mean, to me, they are favourites, but then again, a week ago, I thought France were favourites, with the rider that not always the best team wins the World Cup, and you can't bet against this Argentinian team.
No, and of course, Spain, they've scored first in most of their games in this World Cup. You were talking about how they're cool, they're calm. Do you think that they can keep their cool if Argentina were to score first? Can they do an Argentina and come back to lead the game again?
Yes, I think they can. I think a lot's going to obviously depend on the fatigue factor, the weather, which seems to be clearing. It's been a long 7 weeks for all these players. They've all travelled as well. That could come into its own. I don't think that they will panic. I don't think they'll fall apart as perhaps we saw England fall apart against Argentina. I think they believe in the system and they believe in the players. And, you know, they're not the most dramatic of teams. Difference from 2 years ago when they had the flying wingers, Lamel, Nico Williams. It's changed from that. Yamal is still influential, but it is more of a collective now.
Yeah, Francis, you said it yourself, a clash of style. Emily, when you look at Spain, how do you see, when you look at Argentina, how do you see that style of football?
Yeah, well, they have this reputation, of course, for having mastered the dark arts of football and playing quite a rough game. But that's not all there is to know about their football. They're extremely dangerous in transition. 12 of their 19 goals have come from counterattacks. They also have Lionel Messi. Now, I could end that sentence there, but Messi is actually crucial in drawing players towards him and basically creating pockets of space thanks to basically his aura alone. And of course, Argentina have this winning mentality, finding the win at whatever the cost. Argentina's run to the World Cup has been unlike anything we've seen before, with 2 comeback wins and 2 extra time victories as well. La Albiceleste has not led going into the 90th minute in any of its knockout stage matches. That's an absolutely crazy statistic when you really think of it. How has Argentina curated this winning mentality?
They just have this intensity about them. They never seems to get up to give up. Now, they have ridden their luck, as we've seen. I mean, against Egypt, they would have gone 2-0 down, and there was that bizarre scenario with a goal disallowed where they went back 100 yards. You know, Messi, he's quite fascinating. I was reading earlier today that something like 64% of his playing time at the World Cup has been walking. He strolls around, and the difficulty is that players aren't used to other players walking. They were used to fast, fluid movements. If he just wanders off 10 yards to the right, as he kept doing against England, who do you take out of your defence or your midfield to follow him? And what gaps does that leave? And when he does, of course, make a play, it's spot on. It's pinpoint. Look at the number of big players England had in their box, and Argentina, through Messi, still got crosses right onto the heads of Lautaro Martinez for the winning goal. You know, he's very hard to play against, very hard to control. But of course, they know him so well. He's only played Spain 3 times in his career, but he's lived most of his life in Spain.
And what about, let's talk about some of their maybe potential weaknesses. Of course, La Albiceleste has gone 5 games without a clean sheet. How could Spain use their defence against them?
Well, you know, Spain will be aware that no matter what you do to Argentina, they are still going to be there. They're never going to give up. They're still going to come at you. Also, as well as that, they made some decisive substitutions at various times in this World Cup. They're not scared. The coach is not scared to change the formation, to try different things, to move Messi around, to bring on wingers as he did against England, or one attacking winger, notably on the right-hand side. So I expect you're going to see a furious opening 20 minutes with Argentina pushing, being tenacious. As you say, they're a combative side. I think they've committed more fouls than anyone else in this World Cup. A lot will depend on the referee, but they're going to be up against this low block, very intense Spanish defence.
All right, it's time now to get some predictions.
Yes, and we're going to go to a furry friend expert. So many of you might have seen Air Corgi online, who's been predicting the World Cup thanks to its unusual basketball skills. Let's have a look. This is its prediction that was posted on social media. It got the England game right, predicted that England was going to finish in 3rd place, winning against France, which I don't think I would have predicted. Now it's a kind of sports crossover, as you can see there, using its knows to push the basketballs into the different baskets. And as you'll see here, it predicts a little bit of a win for Argentina. 3-1 probably for Argentina. Is that what you would predict?
I'm not going to bet against this Argentina side, even though I think Spain will win. That's called hedging your bets, is it? I think.
Thanks, Emily?
I'm going to say 3-2 for Spain.
Okay, I don't say anything. I'll just judge you two both, okay? Thank you very much, Francis. Emily, thank you very much. That's it for now. Please stay tuned to France 24.